everyone. Welcome back to the Haven Podcast. I'm Vincent.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Hong.
I'm Nancy.
I'm Edgar.
In this episode, we'll discuss the danger of simply being Asian in present-day America. As we know, there has been a major spike in the hate crimes against Asian in the US since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Fortunately, we are seeing a 33% decrease in anti-Asian hate crime numbers in the year 2022 according to the FBI hate crime database.
Yeah, during the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw a massive rise in Asian hate crimes significantly. According to Health Affairs, an article I found showed some very interesting statistics. 64% people believe the pandemic came from Asian people being the main reason why COVID happened. Also, our former president Donald Trump being a huge factor as well, with 57%. I believe it was from Donald Trump's comments about the pandemic during one of his interviews. Donald Trump saying it was calling the pandemic the China virus.
I mean, does that mean we're finally going to be safe since the rates are dropping? It's really disheartening, really, to constantly hear about another Asian elder getting attacked. I'm really sick of it. So I'm glad that the hate crime statistics are showing that it's dropping, but I know it's dropping. But what is it compared to, let's say, before 2019?
In my opinion, unfortunately, no, because like Hong said, even ever since the pandemic, Asian hate crimes have spiked up crazy. And yeah, there was a slight drop off of 33% in crime rates. But in the world we live in, we just have people in this world that will never change their point of view on others.
Don't be so relieved just yet. From 2019 to 2021, Asian hate crimes has gone up by over 4 times, from 188 cases to 753. In 2022, it dropped down to 499. It is still more than double the number before COVID. And I wonder how much more aggression the Asian American community has faced that isn't reflected in these numbers.
It isn't like this is anything new. I mean, Asians were always mistreated, even dating back to the mid-18 to 1900s, when Chinese workers were brought to the United States. They worked 6 days a week for ungodly hours, being paid the bare minimum every single month. They were forced to work at gold mines and brutal factories, which ultimately caused lifelong health concerns. Like my mom's friend's dad, he was brought over to work to mine gold, and he has some lung conditions and health concerns because of that time. But you would think that we would all learn to come together and accept that there is room for everyone on this planet. But unfortunately, we still see Asians being mistreated every day.
Let me tell you about a case in 2023. So, an 18-year-old university student was stabbed in the head 7 times on a bus in Indiana. The suspect said that she did it because the victim was Chinese, and it would be one less person to blow up the country, according to her. What scared me the most when I was reading the news article was the facial expression of the suspect in her mugshot. It's a cold smile, almost saying, "I'm proud of what I've done and would gladly do it again."
Yeah, speaking of Asian American university students, I've seen this a few years ago on the news where there's been a case happening to a female Asian student at a university where the professor's assistant offered her a ride, but the student was eventually found dead, and even after so many years, the body was still not found.
I mean, even me personally, I've had my own experiences after the pandemic. My own family business, actually, there was a very, I'd say, inebriated person. He ran inside and he started calling my mother a lot of racial slurs, chink. He was Hispanic, so he called her a chino, etc. And she was at risk, so I had to arm myself, and I chased him out with a weapon. And it's just, I never thought the day would come where I had to stand against someone that was putting my family at risk, but it did happen, and it was a crazy experience, really.
Yeah, sorry about to hear that. Hopefully things are going better with you and your family, and your family business is doing well. But do you guys remember Vincent Chin, the man who Vincent Chin was? Probably one of the biggest events on Asian American hate crimes. He was beaten to death outside of a bar by two white auto workers because the auto workers believed that Asian people were the reason why they were causing layoffs and tons of people losing their jobs. So that's the reason why, he died.
It's crazy to think about because I just learned about Vincent Chin recently, and you said it's one of the biggest events that happened in Asian American history.
Yeah.
And yet I feel like it's so unknown. I mean, all my peers, like, they don't know about it until we learned about it together, and it's just really crushing that this major piece of Asian American history has kind of been hidden away.
Looking at the recent bus case and the case of Vincent Chin together, it seems like the scapegoating of Asians has long existed in America.
It's so sad how people, including myself, were not aware of this relevant case until recently. But quick question though, what is scapegoating?
Basically, it's people blaming Asian for the problems of the country and taking out their frustration in life on Asians.
Why do you think that is?
I feel like Asians are generally perceived as easy to pick on, like a shy kid at school.
Yeah, and I agree with this point. Also, I would like to add that because Asians don't really like to get involved with things that are happening around them or even speaking up for themselves regarding unfair social issues targeted towards Asians, and this could cause Asian kids to be influenced by their parents and choose to be quiet when they shouldn't be.
Yeah, I agree with Alyssa as well. It's concerning, and even to myself, that I didn't know about Vincent Chin. And I feel like not just Asian Americans, but every American should know what happens to Vincent Chin and the impact that caused. After that, it also seems like in that certain point in history, it was trying to be hidden in the U.S.
I think we as a community need to get rid of this label of passivity and make our voice heard. We can do better.
I completely agree, man. And I mean, yeah, putting all the hate aside, I think the hardships faced by the Asian American community also brought some of the beauty with it, some of the beauty of humanity to light, and also showed the world that we are not the easy victims. We can stand up for ourselves. We are not passive, as the media makes us out to be. I mean, especially after the horrible attack on Vicha, who was not even Chinese like his attacker thought. Like, he was Thai. And it was inspiring to see the series of protests that spawned after that event. And we even saw the birth of the Stop Asian Hate movement, which is one of the biggest movements within recent time.
Speaking of Asian hate movements, I have attended an Asian hate movement a couple years ago, and not only have these movements changed how people perceive Asian Americans, but activists as well created other resources such as websites and ways to spread awareness of things you see. Some resources include www.standagainsthatred.org or apply for bystander intervention training that teaches you how to safely intervene in a case about Asian or Asian American hate.
Yeah, and I remember when those organizations were first being formed, like, a lot of people were unaware of the state of Asian Americans in the country. They didn't know what was going on. Like you guys remember, towards 2019, the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, did you guys even see on the news about Asian Americans getting attacked despite all the different attacks that were going on at that moment?
No.
Yeah, I didn't see it on the mainstream media at all. The only place I saw it was on Instagram reposts, stories. That was essentially our only source of news, our only way of knowing that our elders were at risk. And it's just really, really crushing to see that we don't get represented in the media, not even when our lives are under threat.
Yeah, I know that we're all young and social media is what we kind of thrive on. but not seeing it on the news kind of just like made us feel misheard and kind of just throwing like a cover over this whole situation. And not only we can see it online, but if you also include like hashtags like hashtag COVID-19 or hashtag Asian American hate, that's one way young people like us can help advocate for Asian American hate.
All in all, it really cuts close to home to look back and reflect on the statistics of how we were being targeted over these past few years. However, I believe that the way Asian Americans are viewed in this country will change, especially after the united efforts we have seen following the spike of hate crimes. And for all those listening, here are some questions for you to think about. What do you think the future holds for Asian Americans? Have you or someone you know ever experienced this type of hate before? What can you do to spread awareness about Asian hate? Well, that's all we have for you today. Thank you for listening. Please look forward to our next episode on pop culture.
Thank you.